Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a great Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon. Got several things I wanted to show y'all tonight on the YouTube here, including several clips of what Trump had to say, Kash Patel had to say, Stephen Miller had to say at this roundtable that they had involving this law enforcement new task force that has been created. Stephen Miller's brainchild, of course, and they discussed that a little bit as well. They have over 1,000 task force, local task forces, state task forces, federal task forces, all working in conjunction from every agency available. I mean, they rattled off probably about 10 or 15 agencies just right off the top. An amazing cast of law enforcement headhunters that are going to go out there and not just arrest illegals, but are going to get drugs off the street. I'm talking about the DEA. Going to blow up drug boats. I'm talking about the military. They're using every arm of our military and or not every arm of our military, every arm of our three-lettered agencies and the help of our National Guard and military. We're doing a full cleanup, folks, in this country. We're talking about extinguishing a big part of the drug problem. We're talking about locking up the radicals, putting these corrupt politicians in jail. There's so many things that are maybe fixing to slap Maduro around in Venezuela, but we won't talk about that yet. That'll happen next week. Just my prediction. They're preparing for something. There's definitely something going on over there, bigger than just blowing up boats and submarines. But we won't go down that rabbit hole right now, but I do want to let you know Trump has set up this task force, Stephen Miller's idea, to get everybody working on the same team as a collective, as a whole, instead of having all these compartmentalized agencies that do specific jobs and don't share information with other agencies, because that's the way they've always done it in the past. Now they're working as a collective hive mind, and I'm just glad to see it. Glad to hear it, and I'm glad to know that Stephen Miller, once again, the great policy maker and #1 chief advisor for Trump, has done come up with another banger, which is helping us in a dozen ways. Not one way, not just getting rid of the illegals, but in dozens and dozens of ways. And the American people are finally starting to see the results. Now let me shrink myself down here, put myself in the corner, and we'll play a few clips for you that I just thought were amazing. I can get this thing to shrink me down over here in the corner real quick. Apologize. Bear with me, folks. I'm still playing with this stupid thing. It is not acting right for some reason. There we go. Alright. Now this here is first couple minutes of Trump just breaking down what we're doing, what we've been doing, what we're going to continue to do. And spoiler alert, he said this is going to continue on after his presidency as well. This is going to be a non-stop, permanent, keyword permanent, faction of our government. Just like Doge is now a permanent faction of our government, so is this multilateral 1,000 organization task force to go after all the problems we're having in our country, from corruption to illegals to drugs, to the violence that's been fomented on our streets. This task force that they have already is only going to grow because Trump is going, said it yesterday on Gateway Pundit, they're going to build by 2026 a National Guard task force to deal with things that may happen when it comes closer to the election. Just a precautionary, but that's happening as well.
Thank everybody for that very much. And we're here today to discuss a sweeping, unprecedented, and historically successful operation that my administration has carried out in recent weeks to arrest, prosecute, and permanently remove members of foreign drug cartels from American soil. And the people gathered around this table are the ones that are doing it, and in this room. Some of them sitting a little behind. In fact, some of them, I'm surprised, are not actually at the table. You people should be very insulted by that. But you've done a great job back there. On my first day in office earlier this year, I signed an executive order to officially designate the drug cartels and savage transnational gangs as foreign terrorist organizations. It was my honor to do so.
That was just the beginning.
And on that same day, I also signed an order directing the creation of the Homeland Security Task Force to bring together all federal, state, and local partners to achieve the national policy goal of eliminating the cartel presence in America once and for all. And the results are, and it's early, and the results are spectacular. Led by ICE and the FBI, this task force includes the Department of Justice, the Department of War, DHS, the intelligence community, ATF, the DEA, the U.S. Marshals, and the state and local agencies in every part of our country. Other than that, we don't include too many people. That's a hell of a group, isn't it, huh? When you think of it, that's not a group you want against you. Certainly not at one time. In addition to the task force members, we're pleased to be joined by representatives of law enforcement at every level, the highest level, actually, but every level, including National President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Patrick Yos. Where's Patrick? Patrick, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for the endorsement, too.
At this point, he goes through the whole list of everybody involved that he wants to, I guess, give accolades to, and which I agree, they deserve their props, all the people that are fighting this fight and helping this all happen. And it's not just fighting the cartels, it's a whole lot of things. Now, I pulled up to about the 28-minute mark.
Drug cartels for longer than I've been.
I pulled up to about the 28-minute mark on this video because Trump was praising Stephen Miller at one point during this interview. And I thought he was actually very accurate about it, what he said. And Stephen Miller had a better than that rebuttal of just saying, hey, look, our country was dying before you got here. Thank you. I just thought it was definitely worth sharing. Here we go.
Made all of this possible. I can tell you, in the midst of this government shutdown, our folks, like everyone around this table, are working 24/7 without pay and eager to get after this because they believe in your leadership and the mission that you have presented to them. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll hand this off to Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller, the leader of this task force.
There we go. Here we go.
Let me just say, Mr. President, that this country was going to die without you. This country was going to actually die without you. That's what we were facing in 2024. We've been invaded for 4 years. Our communities were sinking. Our public safety had gone to zero. Cartels were running entire communities. Sex trafficking, child trafficking, labor trafficking was out of control. Overdoses were out of control. The cartels were claiming more and more territory. City services were buckling. This was a country on the verge of dying, and you alone saved it. And when you stepped forward originally in 2016, you started the movement to make America great again, and that means make America great again in every way, and that means safety and prosperity and peace and freedom from cartels and crime and gangs. And your vision and your leadership in declaring war on the drug cartels is the single most successful public safety initiative in American history.
Yes.
And I need the media to understand what President Trump has done. People have been talking about drug cartels for longer than I've been alive. And everyone has just taken for granted that they can't be touched or stopped. They're too big, they're too powerful, they're too evil, they're too murderous. They can operate with impunity. And in just 9 months, President Trump is the only American leader, not just in our lifetimes, but ever, to actually take the fight to the drug cartels, to actually seek their eradication. And it is happening. And so while the Democrats are shutting the government down and fighting for free health care for illegal aliens, look at what President Trump has assembled here. He's assembled a team under his vision, direction, and leadership that is saving hundreds of thousands of lives. Hundreds of thousands of lives. And only President Trump could have done this. And I will say one last thing, which is that his courage has been an inspiration to everyone else in this room. There are people in this room, looking at, for example, at Todd Lyons, who have been relentlessly doxxed and harassed and threatened. But when they see President Trump's courage, what he's been through for 10 years to save America, when they came after his family, his businesses, his safety, his freedom, everyone at this table knows we can give whatever it takes to get the mission done. So President Trump, thank you for your leadership, your boldness, your courage, and your vision. We're honored to serve underneath you.
Well, I want to thank you, Stephen. And I have to say that, I've been making the rounds. I'm leaving tomorrow for some very big meetings, including with the president of China, where I think we're going to come out very well, and everyone's going to be very happy. But everybody said the same thing. A year ago, we had a dead country. We were a dead country. We really were, in a lot of ways, not just this. We were dead as doornails on this, but we were a country that was in serious trouble and beyond that. And we have the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. The whole world is talking about it. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're going to clear up this crime in our cities. We can do it quickly, too. They showed how quickly we could do it in D.C. It was a real bad place. It was a real mess. Dirty, filthy, disgusting, graffiti all over the place.
All right, we're going to move on to the 32-minute mark on this video, which is just directly right. He lets Kash Patel step in here and say a few words.
Million Americans gone, evaporated off our streets permanently. Your vision to safeguard American freedoms and our children and our future is the most courageous thing I've ever seen a president of the United States ever do. And your ability to marshal it out in 8 months,
Yes.
These statistics would have taken other administrations decades. And the partnership that you see around the table, I just want to, sum it up with the following. When I call these folks around the table, when I call our state and local law enforcement partners who have been absolutely critical to this mission, when Stephen Miller called me and said, we're going to create the Homeland Security Task Force and the FBI and DHS are going to co-lead it, I said, absolutely. The country's been yearning for this and needing it. Awesome. And the one thing I see different than any other administration is when I call these people, they pick up. I don't get a voicemail. When I make an ask, they answer, and the same is true. And so the FBI is playing a pivotal role in your administration in helping lead out this mission, and Stephen's vision has finally come to life. And instead of attacking the people at this table, maybe the media should go out there and talk to the lives that have been saved forever and the communities that have been safeguarded, because it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to implement that plan, and it takes a president and President Trump to put a leadership team like this together. We are actual friends, and I know the media doesn't want to call us that, but we do that. We do hang out. We do work together. It's a 24/7, 365 mission that doesn't turn off, Mr. President. And as Stephen said, we're inspired by your leadership, and this country's thankful for these 8 months, and I can't wait to see what the next 4 years looks like.
Thank you.
I agree. No doubt about it. Trump has got the best executive branch team you could ever imagine, as far as I'm concerned. There's a few people that didn't get in that I wanted him to put in there, like Matt Gaetz, but it is what it is. But for the most part, with the exception of Pam Bondi being a little squishy, the rest of these people are hardened headhunters, and including Todd Blanche and a lot of these attorney generals, local state attorney generals as well, that are helping in our fight. I'm talking about Republican attorney generals, not Democrat attorney generals. But there's a lot of people that actually help all this implementation actually work. It takes a team, it takes an army, it takes a village. And Trump was pretty much doing it by himself in his first term, because he did not have a team of people around him that he could trust to get the job done, whatever their role was. And he's got that now. And I think our country will be forever grateful for it, at least most of us. Not the blue-haired freaks with the fishing tackle in their face, but the rest of us, we see we don't deserve him. And we're just, me personally, I'm just thankful he come along and decided to throw his hat in the ring when he did, even after all of this mess. Because now we're going to get our country back. Our country is going to be redirected in a better way, making America great again. I have no doubt. I've been watching it happen for 8 months. An amazing amount of an amazing amount of change.
See different than any other.
I don't know why this button keeps touching. Let me move that off. Nope. Next video, folks. I had 3 video clips here about the speech, but I just want to let everybody know that Stephen Miller was absolutely right, and Cash Patel's right. It takes the courage to stand up to the system. And Trump's been giving the middle finger to the system since the day he stepped off that elevator. And now he's got a huge team of people that are doing the same. They're not there to screw the pooch. They're there to help the American people. They're there to do their jobs. And that's exactly what our country needed. And not just this year, but the next, well, from now on. How's that? From now on. J.D. Vance, 2028, I'm ready. We'll get J.D. Vance in there for 8 years. After Trump's 4 years, our country should be in pretty good shape by then. Now, if you didn't know it or not, there was some breaking news that came out a little bit earlier today. Biden's Attorney General, Merrick Garland, we all know this sleazebag, and FBI Director, former FBI Director, Christopher Wray, personally approved opening the Arctic Frost investigation into Trump. And that was the Jack Smith investigation of all the dirty stuff he was doing. Says, grab my goggles. It says Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, otherwise known as the Bulldog, released documents revealing that Biden's Attorney General Merrick Garland, former FBI Director Chris Wray, and corrupt DOJ official Lisa Monaco, oh, she's a tyrant too, personally approved opening of the Arctic Frost investigation into Trump. Arctic Frost, led by Jack Smith's Trump 2020 alternative electors case, went down in Georgia. Republican Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson earlier this year released new records detailing that the FBI and the DOJ sweeping investigation that formed the basis of Jack Smith D.C. case against Trump. Grassley and Johnson previously blew the lid off another sham investigation orchestrated by Biden's corrupt DOJ and compromised by the FBI. They were working hand in hand. This is according to the document released earlier this year that these two agencies weaponized their power to target President Trump, former President Mike Pence. They didn't target Mike Pence. I don't believe that. And their allies through the probe dubbed Arctic Frost. No, Mike Pence was always off the radar. He was part of the problem. He was the one referring Bill Barr to be Trump's guy. Yeah, Pence was I wouldn't call him a traitor, but he was definitely working for the wrong team to be calling himself a Republican, that's for sure. He was more of a rhino, deep state, I don't know, go-between, liaison. He's the one that got a lot of these people that got too close to Trump. He's the one that let him in the door, and that's what I know. So that's pretty treasonous if you ask me. It says, according to this document, Operation Arctic Frost was a taxpayer-funded witch hunt launched in 2022 that seized government-issued cell phones belonging to Trump, Pence, while conducting a barrage of interviews across the country. It says, and it's been recently reported that Joe Biden's FBI and later Jack Smith spied on 8 Republican senators. That came out last week. During the Arctic Frost investigation, they were tracking their phones and seeing who they were calling. They were going through the whole list. There was actually, Lindsey Graham was mad about it. Josh Hawley, Lindsey Graham. This all involved the January 6th stuff. Ron Johnson, of course, and Marsha Blackburn, several others. But after this investigation got opened up, they're now realizing there's more to this story. They now have actual documentation that proves that this was personally approved. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's go after Trump. Signed off. Got the signatures on the paperwork. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So today we handed over an important document showing weaponization and politicization at the highest level of government. We're proud to work with Chairman Grassley, Chairman Grassley and Senator Johnson on this critical oversight to restore one tier of justice and transparency to the American people. You know what this means, folks? You know what this story means to me? It means Lisa Monaco. It means Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray are all going to have indictments coming. Indictments coming over this alone. We know they're all three tyrants in their own way. They all should be charged with 100 crimes. But this one, they got their signature on paper. It's easy to prove. They were conspiring against Trump. That's all I got to say. They were conspiring to take Trump down. Pretty cut and dry to me. Got a couple more little X clips I'm going to bring to y'all today. We'll call it a wrap. It says the storm has arrived. President Trump on reports that there is a grand jury deliberating on the indictment of Adam Schiff. Did y'all hear that today? It was asked of him. So let's go ahead and see what Trump actually had to say.
Speaking of Democrats, there's a report that there's a grand jury on Adam Schiff for apparent mortgage fraud. If he is indicted, should he step down as a U.S. Senator?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I would just say Adam Schiff is one of the lowest forms of scum I've ever dealt with in politics. He's a horrible human being, very dishonest person. I have no idea what's going on. You tell me that he's going to be indicted. I don't know. You could ask Pam. I don't know if she could say it. Probably you are allowed to say it, but I wouldn't know about that. I can only tell you he's a very bad. I think he's actually a sick person. Do you want to talk about that?
We're not going to comment on any grand jury that's open. We can't legally.
Can't talk about it because it's an active investigation. That's the keeper right there. That's the keeper. These folks are going to go to jail, is what I have to believe in my heart of hearts. I have to believe that we're not just doing all this work to clean up our country and expose the rot and call out the perverts and everything involved, and nobody have to be punished for it. I don't believe it's going down like that this time. I just don't see it going that way. I see us blowing up drug boats and deporting people by the hundreds of thousands, and we don't care what they think at this point. We're doing it anyway, and I think that's what's going to happen with these clowns in politics that try to take Trump out. I think it's going to happen, folks. It'll probably be 2026 where a lot of them will be in court, but when it starts rolling, we're going to have to start a whole new court channel just to be able to cover all the cases going.
You guys have discovered in Memphis. That's amazing.
Well, it's hundreds of thousands.
Now, they cut off, this clip was cut, being an X clip. The question is what about these 300,000 kids that were lost under the Biden administration? What are we doing to retrieve them, find them, and do whatever we need to do to put them back in a better setting? Whether it be deport them or whatever. I don't even know what the solution would be for that one at this point, but get them to safety at the least. But that was asked of Trump, and I really, really, really thought this was worth sharing as well.
You guys have discovered in Memphis. That's amazing.
Well, it's hundreds of thousands were lost through Biden and the Biden administration, and we are getting a lot of them back, but they're either dead, they're slaves, they're captured in some form. But think of it, hundreds of thousands we're talking about. Not even believable. And they came in through the border. They were sold. They were bargained for. And this was all Biden, meaning Biden and Obama, the same mentality, frankly. I think it's the same mentality. Let me tell you, Barack Hussein Obama was a lousy president. A lot of bad things happened. Remember when they used to talk about Trump with the jail cells? Well, he built the jail cells for the children. He built those jail cells. Remember that came out? But, sir, they were built in 2014. You remember when that came out? After me going through that stuff for about 2 weeks, and then they found out it was Barack Obama that built those jail cells. No, these people they were bad leaders. I hope we don't have it again. I hope we don't have it again because, our country's come back a long way, but it can only withstand so much, and we don't want to ever go through that again. We never want to have open borders again. Nope. We don't want to have men playing in women's sports. We don't want to have transgender for everybody.
Nope.
We don't want that. We want to have a great country with low interest rates, nice housing, great education, a strong military, the basics. Yes, please.
I like that answer. I really like that answer. Now, I think I got 2 more clips here for you today, folks, that I was going to bring to y'all. And this one here, I thought, not the whole clip, but at least the last, let's do the last.
We're going to have 20 or $21 trillion. We've never had anything like it coming in because of tariffs. The money pouring into our country, the plants that are opening, AI, automobiles, everything. And the Democrats want to close our country. They're really, you know, they say deranged. They are. They suffer. I guess it's Trump derangement syndrome, which I think is going down now as an official condition by the doctors. I think they get paid extra money if they handle it because it's more difficult to handle than a normal mental disease. But you know what? They really should approve an extension, get the country back to work, get the people paid. And, you know, it's very simple. You just don't know what's going on. There's something wrong with them. Yeah, it's sad, actually.
It is sad. The Democrat Party has lost their way. There are so many things wrong with the Democrats' way of thinking. And I'm sure a lot of these people that don't pay attention to the news, but they vote Democrat either way, have no clue about any policies that Republicans or Democrats put forward, but they watch CNN a little bit, or they don't watch any TV at all, and so they either hate Trump, or they assume that they need to hate Trump because they're a Democrat. A lot of lost people in this country, and it's not just about politics. It's mentally derangement syndrome. Now, this will be the last video of the day. It's about 4 minutes long, folks, but this was definitely informative. This is a bombshell. It says Washington state Democrats are using homeless NGOs, non-governmental organizations, to funnel money to Antifa. Now, this is so deep. It just, wow. Just watch, folks. I don't know how else to say this. This is it's what's going on in Seattle, and this gets broken down quite well right here. Lots of details. Shocking, but they need to send Kristi Noem in there. They need to send in some of these task force agencies to handle this problem ASAP.
Rich, it's not just conservatives who say this is happening, is it?
Hi, Elizabeth. No, these are voices across the political spectrum here in Seattle, all grappling with the issue of homelessness, which is essentially a drug crisis as well, which you can see in virtually every park here in Seattle. I want our viewers to take a look at this park where the homeless essentially have taken over all their drug paraphernalia. We've spoken with 3 people here. Many people, but 3 people, a reporter, a longtime police officer, and someone who works inside the homeless advocacy here. And what they say and what we saw is beyond shocking.
Pretty much all the drug addicts, criminals, the black market of stolen goods, it all thrives here. I mean, look at this guy, completely blitzed out of his mind. He's ODing on something, he has a sandwich in his hand. I mean, this, again, is a drug crisis.
Jonathan Cho is a reporter for Turning Point USA and a researcher for the Discovery Institute, a conservative group which collaborated on the report.
It's a totally lawless environment, Rich, and the city just allows this.
A year ago, this was a park built for the community. Today, it's the epicenter of Seattle's homeless and drug crisis. Every day, school kids pass by unfazed.
No one's getting at the root causes of what's happening here on the streets, and that's the problem, but that's exactly how this nonprofit homeless sector operates.
Cho says it's all financial grift by the homeless industrial complex and that Antifa has infiltrated all of it.
Well, what's happening right here is being enabled by the homeless nonprofits, and the homeless nonprofits.
And this is in Portland, Oregon, but it's happening in every blue city, and I guarantee you, 100%, you can be 100% reassured Gavin Newsom is profiting off the homelessness in California as well. I heard it was almost $1 million federal dollars coming into the state to house, feed, and take care of the homeless. $1 million per person per year. Give me $500,000 and I could change several people's life, get them to work, get them a place to stay, get them off drugs. I imagine it doesn't cost $1 million a person to just enable these people. I mean, they need to be fed, they need to be housed, they need, a lot of them need mental institutions, a lot of them need rehab, all kinds of different possibilities out there, because I know a lot of homeless people feeding people on Sundays, and I see that the parks are filled up with these homeless people. Most of these homeless people are not bad people, they're just people that are down on their luck, but there's absolutely the drug addicted criminal element out there with it as well. And so you got to kind of shake your head at the fact that there's drug addicts and criminals sleeping at the parks while the kids are trying to skateboard or walk around the trails. It's pretty spooky. We definitely need to do something to deal with it better. But kind of getting off track here, but this leads to Antifa funding. Keep up, folks. Let's go ahead and get back into it.
The research shows is working with far-left militants and progressive groups and violent domestic terrorists like Antifa.
If it sounds far-fetched, take it from someone inside the homeless sector here.
It's the same faction of people who link up and protest and, do the black bloc, and, they're often the same people we see working inside social services.
Andrea Suarez, lifelong Democrat and Seattle resident, started a volunteer organization, We Heart Seattle, to clear trash from parks and homeless encampments.
Oh my God, you're so
She said she had no idea she'd come face to face with Antifa.
I've been attacked. My staff has been attacked. We've been pushed into traffic. We've had
But here's the question,
yeah.
Why?
I'm not in alignment with their ideology. They don't want the city cleaned. Who in their right mind would come after a middle-aged woman for picking up trash?
The connection between the homeless industrial complex and the tie-in to Antifa. It's there clear as day.
Mike Solon has been with Seattle PD for 26 years and is the president of Seattle Police Officers Guild.
These activists, these Antifa mobs, the people that are supporting the homeless industrial complex, are the ones that target the police officers.
He says in 2020, Antifa firebombed his office.
People that align themselves with socialist political ideology are the ones that are causing a lot of the energy around anti-police, pro-homeless agenda that aren't interested in solving the problem.
They know that the homeless crisis is chaotic and out of control, and they want to take advantage of that chaos.
They don't want people to actually get help.
Now, this is one of the more complicated and eye-opening stories I've reported on recently, Elizabeth. We reached out to a number of the high-profile housing nonprofits in the homeless sector here. None of them even responded. And given that President Trump has recently declared Antifa a domestic terror group, I expect more eyes on this soon.
Well, I hope so. I hope they run Antifa out of town. I believe that Antifa is not just declared a domestic terrorist organization, but is an organization, no matter how organized or unorganized they are being heavily funded by people that hate this country, and it needs to not just be investigated, it needs to be handled up on. They need to lock these blue-haired freaks that are destroying our cities up. If you don't lock them up, if you don't give them some real time for the things that they've already done, have already probably been let out on, no bail, may not have to come back to court over all the violence they've been promoting and all the destruction of the vandalism, all the fighting the cops. There's so many, there's probably thousands and thousands of people in this country that should be in jail for the way they acted at a protest. And they've gotten away with it for 4 years under Biden, pretty much 4 years under Trump's first term, because a lot of the governors would not, and mostly the mayors would not stand up and fix the problem, do anything to fix the problem. Instead, they coddled the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter violence to the point that it destroyed black-owned businesses, huge parts of cities, the chop zones. I know y'all remember all this stuff. Well, the more Antifa is exposed, whether it be financial ties to George Soros, the more the violence is exposed, the more the connections are crystal clear, the easier it'll be for us to not just go after George Soros, but go after George Soros, go after the NGOs, go after the people that are running these NGOs that have gotten filthy rich off promoting hate, promoting violence, taking advantage of even the homeless to further their cause. These people are sick. They're Democrats and they're sick, and probably a lot of them are benefiting financially off of this sad situation, and that's why we need to talk about it. That's why we need to expose it. That's what I got for you today, folks. Hopefully everybody enjoyed.